and welcome to the Work Hates podcast. I'm Bron Lewis. This is Brady Blake. Everyone has had a nightmare work story before, whether it is a dreadful boss, an insufferable colleague, or a shitty workplace. And if you've had none of those things, chances are you are the problem.
You are the problem.
Woo.
Today, we are joined by comedian, psychopath, and ex-veteran Jack Knight.
How do you be an ex-veteran?
I don't even know. Oh, yeah, damn it. Don't bring up on my podcast how fucking stupid I am. God, I was like, I'll get him with psychopath. And then I go, ATM machine. Fuck. Veteran.
That's, yeah, I think the only ex-veterans are the ones that are dead.
They're dead.
Well,
and
guess
zombies.
what? This is actually your last ever podcast.
Yeah, you're going to die today.
Yes, sick. I'll let the missus know.
Jack Knight, we're so excited to have you on the podcast because we are in Brisbane at the moment. We are currently recording a Good Chat Comedy Club and Brady and I sat down. We were like, who do we need to have on the podcast?
I don't want to be biased, but one of my favourite Brisbane comedians.
Thank you.
Oh, one of my favourite comedians, I reckon. One of my favourite comedians
I'm going to
is Jack
say that
Knight.
as well. I was just worried there might be some other Brisbane nerds lingering around.
What are they going to
Just
do?
to insult them,
Probably
then.
the most psychotic, not psychotic, but craziest set. I love some of your sets so much, like how you talk about like when you go to a cafe and if they give you one more bit of sourdough with a butter knife, you're going to go on a shooting rampage again. I'm like, that is so relatable to
It's
me.
not right, is it?
No,
You
it's
can't,
not.
Can't do that to a bloke. It's the wrong tool for the job.
Did you also know,
know?
I figured this out, with those butter knives, you meant to put them on a fucking angle because it's got those teeth and it cuts through.
I
but
gave up. I've just been
Serrated.
picking up the toast and biting it.
Just full caveman.
Yeah, fuck him.
Fuck them.
If I'm hungry enough, I go full feral in a restaurant. We did the birthday show here, and every year I dress up as an egg and do an egg and spoon race to the other comedy club up the road. And there's a part of that you got to stop for a schooner at the pub.
Yep.
You got to down a schooner.
Did they make you do that, or you just added that in?
We just do it every year.
Is anyone watching?
They make me rip 2 cones in the car park. They make me do a line of coke. I'm like, do they?
It's just I don't make the rules, mate. I just got to follow them, you know. And then you do a lap of all the statues at Suncorp Stadium. You salute Wally Lewis, and then you go put the egg in the esky at the other comedy club. But anyway, I did that, and I was so hungry. After that, I went to the Indian restaurant and just made an absolute fucking fool of myself. I gave up on cutlery. I was just going ballistic.
Just your head in the bowl?
Yeah, just like full on hog at the trough.
Okay.
Full on.
Normally, like Indian blokes, they're eating with their hands and stuff.
Yeah.
You're like, nah, I'm gonna go the whole fucking tray down.
It was all arse and elbows. It was a nightmare. Everyone was looking at me. It was brutal.
And also, that's on Caxton Street as well. And if you haven't been on here, if you go to either of these kebab shops or the awesome Indian shop down there,
In Abracababra. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. They have some of the worst low breeds you've ever seen in your life past 9 o'clock at night.
It's pretty bad.
And somehow you've topped that.
I've topped it. Yeah,
Oh my
I was
God.
getting looked at. It was, like, you know when they're like a restaurant, they come to fill your water up or whatever? They come and turned around. They didn't want to get in the fucking splash zone, you know?
Yeah.
I thought if I go too close to that man's goat curry, I'm next. I'm going to get fucking munched.
Yeah.
Like we could get rid of a body with this pig in the trough over here.
Pig in the
Fucking
trough,
hell.
babe. It's the only way to get rid of teeth.
Yeah. Oh my God. Now, Jack, you are. Well, you already told us that when you broke up with your girlfriend, you didn't really let her know, and you just joined the military.
Yeah. So before we hit record, Jack came in with. I don't even know how it even started, but you were saying that you have never been dumped before.
Never been dumped. Never been sacked.
Never been sacked.
Nah.
Oh, that's interesting. But you.
Why's that interesting?
I don't know. I just really just this story about you running as an egg and also eating curry with your face, without any hands, made me think. That sounds like a guy I'd get fired heaps.
Can't get fired if you've never had a job. I win.
But you were telling us that you've never been dumped because you always disappear. Which is very cool.
Gone, yeah.
And what's the greatest, I guess, escape you've had is when you disappeared into a forest for how long?
6 months.
Oh my God, what was this? What's wrong with this woman? Would she have a gun?
Nah, I had a lot of other stuff going on at the time.
Really? Running off into a forest and not addressing your issues?
months.
I'm just going to live out here, I'll be fine.
It's sort of a family tradition.
Really?
Is it?
Yeah, my dad did it. His dad did it. Great-grandfather Jack Knight did it.
Yeah, right.
We all go sort of walkabouts at that age.
Yep. So if you
Tradition
have
of
children...
male depression and not addressing your issues.
No,
You guys
don't-
go to therapy? No.
Do not talk about your feelings.
The trick is, if you go far enough, you never have to look in.
Yeah, that's a good
That's
one.
Never
beautiful.
look in.
And when you have if you ever have kids and you have a son, is this a lesson you will teach him?
No, I'm not having kids.
You're not having kids.
Nah.
Okay.
No,
look.
that's not for me. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right, but
The
if
guy
you
that
do,
runs away from his problems. I don't think kids are a great idea, dude.
Yeah, it's
Do
not a
you-
great. We stopped making this model. You know what I mean? They don't sell this on the Australian market
Yeah,
anymore.
we
You
don't need to
can't-
make the Cortina TE again.
Nah.
It's done. It was bad.
The
we moved
Leyland
on.
P76 doesn't need to come back. You know what I mean? They don't even sell parts for this anymore.
Look,
Go
there's
to
so
the-
many car references. I do not. I'm driving a Camry at the moment, a rental.
Beautiful.
I've never disrespected a car more in my life.
Fastest car in the world's a rental, infamously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I only ever drive them in first gear. They're great.
Yeah.
Why would you bother?
I'm hating it.
Toyota Camry's a beautiful car. Beautiful
No, it's not.
gearbox.
Yeah, it's
I'm
good
like,
gearbox.
are you sure this has got like power steering? I'm like, why is
Bron
the
drives a Tesla during the week, so
Oh,
I think she's better than everyone.
I am.
No pinky fingers on the steering wheel.
Nothing. I don't even have to hold the steering wheel. It's
That's
fucking
disgusting.
paradise.
You know what Bron needs?
It's
A
beautiful.
car with more torque. She is the most aggressive driver. I've been in a car with a V8
Yeah.
supercar driver, and Bronny hits corners harder.
That's insane.
I've got places to be.
Yeah, we had 4 bottles of white wine in the back. I was like, slow down. We got important shit back here. We had 90 packets of cigarettes to smoke that day. Oh my
Okay, doesn't
Infamously
matter.
fragile cigarettes.
Yeah,
when
come
they're
on.
around me, they are.
So we were excited to have you on because we know that you have got so many. Like we've just kind of touched over the fact you went into a forest for 6 months.
Did you-
no need to go dig any deeper.
Okay, all right. So
I
what
feel
were
like
you
there
living off?
is a
Did you
shallow,
did you talk to
shallow
anyone?
grave.
I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah, it's all right.
Don't-
For another podcast.
Brett, I've never seen Brett look scared faster.
No, because you always give me shit about having a go bag, and you asked Nighty, and I was like, I know Nighty's got something prepared. He's a prepper.
You always-
Look at that
yeah.
face. He's a prepper.
yes, you
See?
like, we
True
couldn't
preppers,
start-
we don't tell you what we got.
We're supposed to start at 10. We couldn't start till 10:30 because you said you had to go to the markets. And I was like, I don't believe you. You're burying something for sure.
Yeah, also Jack Knight going, oh, I like this marmalade or this homemade soap. And you're like, you probably should have lady like, you know, if you get soap wrong, it actually turns into fucking dynamite. It's an explosive.
Let me
you
show
know.
you. Oh,
if
well
you-
done.
We won't. Not on camera, but
Okay.
That's Brett and Jack Knight's secret pod.
that's in the boot of my car.
Yeah. It's
The
called we're launching our new pod called The Bunker Boys. Yeah.
Fuck all reception.
Now, what is the worst job you've ever had, Jack
man.
Knight?
I've had some ringers, man. Like, I worked at a Domino's for a while, and that sucked. I was a fencer for a while,
Yes,
and that
okay.
was pretty grim.
Have we had a fencer on yet, Brady? Because we've
I
talked
was
about
also
fences
a TA
before.
for a plumber. That sucked.
That sucked. But
What's a TA?
Trade assistant.
Oh, okay.
Just a dog's body.
Well, particularly for a plumber, they're not, you know, like plumbing, there's a lot of shit involved. They'll be
Yeah.
like, hey, champ, guess what? That clogged
Yeah.
pipe with diarrhea, that's you.
We were ripping out an old sewerage pipe to put when we were building a church, and it was just fucked, man.
Oh, my God.
Awful. But the shit wasn't the worst part. It was all clay.
Right.
The ground was all clay, and that is a prick of a thing to dig.
So when you
imagine.
saw...
I
the-
know you don't know.
I
You
don't-
didn't have to tell me you don't know.
No, unless, is that a feature
You're
on my
wearing a fucking
Tesla?
jumpsuit.
Yeah.
Hey, this
And
could
you're
be,
not a
I'm
mechanic.
Yeah, you're not a mechanic.
But
No.
yeah, the digging part would have sucked, and then you finally get to the diarrhea pipe, and you're like, thank God, my
Ah.
day's gotten easier.
Thank God for these turds.
So that would have been the shitty one. But you had, you mentioned you were a fencer. Now, my brother is a fencer and he works with some really colourful people.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the jobs that people, like when there's kind
It's
of like...
grim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard
I-
work as well.
I was working on fences for Queensland Rail. Mm-hmm. So we were putting up. And it was bad from the get-go. My old man got me the job after I was done wandering around. And...
He actually wanted you to know how to build fences so that he could actually find where you are. Build a little fence
Yeah,
around here
and
next time you
stand
go
in
to
the middle.
forest.
Well,
Yeah.
after, that's the trick. After running away from your problems is building convenient little fences around them.
Yes. Box them in.
Box them
then
in.
address
Don't
them.
look
Box
at 'em.
them in. But I got the job because the old fella, he knew the foreman running the joint, but they didn't like each other. So as soon
Oh, he hated your dad.
he fucking hated my dad,
Oh, no.
and my dad hated him. So as soon as I got the job, we didn't like each other either.
You're like, oh, this is going to be a good energy going in.
Yeah, so it was like brutal. We were doing these we were putting up the fences at the stabling yard at Caboolture train station, which is brutal. I was there
Yeah.
for like 4 months. We had to call the cops on three separate occasions just for child abandonment.
No.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like what they're just leaving them at the train station?
Yeah,
Not
so-
abandoned. They're living with 4 fences. They're
Come
fine.
on. And fences are fine.
What would happen is in the morning, you'd see the junkies get off the train and just leave their kid at the station and you just watch them. You could watch them walk from there into the shoot-up house and they just wouldn't come back out. So when you're knocked off, you'd be like, oh, fucking call the cops.
In their mind, maybe it's like a daycare centre. Like there's fences around, there's CCTV, there's a toilet,
there's a
trains for them to play with. They're probably deadly.
There's a wee tuck shop there.
Oh, they've got everything.
They
Kids
got
these
everything.
days have got it too fucking easy.
Too
guys.
easy.
Holy
Yeah.
shit. Well, that is the saddest story I've ever heard. That is a grim one. And so that one, how long are you doing that one for?
I was there for 4 months. It was.
That's a long time.
It
and a
was
hard
like
job.
we had to do a lot of like. It was like because it's Caboolture Station. It was like all steel fences,
Yeah.
like super secure, barbed wire, and razor rings as well. Like we had to keep these fuckers
Caboolture's
out.
rough.
They are grabby. Like if you put something down,
It's gone.
it's got like you would be screwing in you'd be screwing in the mesh to the bottom rail of the fence,
Yep.
right? And I put my drill down next to me, and there were these 2 blokes operating as a team. There was an overpass, so you could like see everything. So I put my drill down, and there was like a poster on the wall, like in construction, so you can't see through it. Bloke on the overpass is giving him the thumbs up, drills down, and he's put his hand under the fence to try and steal my fucking drill. I'm still there. So I hit him in the back of the hand with a hammer.
That does sound like you were waiting for him to do it, though.
It sounded like you enjoyed this a lot
You
as well.
loved
Yeah,
it.
come
You told him, tell him now. Tell him now.
All that whack-a-mole at the bowling alley paid off. Fucking. But like stuff like that. They just try and spit on you from the overpass.
It's like, boys, put this much effort into actual work. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Fuck.
And I will give them credit. They were pretty accurate. The first couple of times you're like, this is, awful. But after you get nailed a couple of times, you're like, they're good at this.
Like, how did you
Thank
get hit in the butt
you.
crack 3 times, dude? There's a lot of wind going on. I'm actually paying respect. They could be in the Olympics.
Yeah, he's getting the coin in the slot from metres away. He's just fucking...
Caboolture is rough. I only went there once, and I will happily never go back. If you were,
I don't like judging a place, and I've given Caboolture a few chances. I always go,
Yeah.
it can't be that bad. I'm sure that there are nice people there. I'm sure it's okay. And they just won't stop proving me wrong. Every time I've given them a few
It's their full-time job.
It's just
They go above and beyond.
they're just really achieving. I did 1 gig in Caboolture. I did one comedy
Okay.
show there. And it's the only comedy show I've left through the fire escape.
because they were ready to kill
wasn't,
you.
I wasn't going through the fucking crowd.
They were gonna
no
kill
way in
you.
hell. It was like a paid show and they didn't sell any tickets. So the RSL or whatever it was like a sports centre. They're like, oh, no one's up there. We'll just get on the intercom and say, hey, there's a comedy show upstairs. Just rock up
Perfect.
if you want.
That sounds
so
like a
all the
good
people who
crowd.
have run out of money on the pokies are just loitering in the foyer.
An old man's got a broken hand, so he can't even put any money down on the
can't-
slots.
he's
He's in there. He remembers you. You're fucked.
Yeah,
Didn't we
it
spit
was-
on that cunt?
Then we spit on that guy. Yeah, it was bad. It was so... I got heckled for having pockets.
Shame
in
on you.
Caboolture. Hey, look at
Shame
this
on you.
bloke.
Oh, this is the President of the
yeah.
United States
Yeah.
of America over here. You got money to put in there, do you?
Yeah, what are you putting in there, mate? Fucking, I got heckled. Someone was like, "You look like you got a vagina," and then I looked out into the crowd, and it was a woman yelling it. I was like, "You do? I don't understand."
Also, you're the most feminine thing they've seen, and you're a rough-looking bloke. They're like, this is definitely a chick. I did a gig because fences are fucking, as we said, rough. But I did a gig for like a lumber company or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was free piss for 4 hours.
Yeah.
And everyone, it was like a trade expo. Everyone left, had a couple of beers, did it. Of course, the only people left for the comedy show were 4 tables of fencers who were like
Yeah.
there to the last minute, just sucking down the taps. But then they were like, they loved the comedy show. Well, they didn't really. They were giving me shit throughout the whole show. But they wanted to hang around and have a beer afterwards. And they would do, it was like a Monday. They were racking lines. I wouldn't
On
have
the
said it
table.
was Coke. I would have definitely said it was speed in the dunny.
Omo.
And then we were in a conversation at 100 Ks an hour for like fucking 2 hours. And one of these guys was just telling me about all these beautiful prostitutes he'd slept with. And I was like, is this your work function? Like, it's time to go home, boys. Like, we're going to keep
Celebration.
kicking on. Do you want to come? I'm like, it's fucking Monday, dude.
Yeah, they're
Did you though?
pretty wild.
Yeah, I had a few more skewies with them.
Yeah,
It was
fucking
free.
A.
I'm not a fucking idiot.
Man, one of my first exposures to that kind of culture, one of the first jobs I ever had, I was working steel fixing.
Yep.
Like in a shed. I just finished high school. I didn't have a job, and my old man come home from work and dragged me out of bed. He got me a job with him.
Yeah.
You're coming to work. So he dragged me in, and the Christmas functions for that, we were steel fixing these huge ligatures to build a skyscraper in Scarborough, up North Redcliffe. And so the work function was there, and they just had this huge fucking esky of Coronas, and I would have been like barely of age, and I just wouldn't stop drinking these fucking things. Someone's
How
like,
often do you see a beautiful exotic beer for free?
someone was like, I'll drive you home. And I was like, I have seen, you've been drinking with me, man. I'm not getting in the car with you.
Very sensible.
I watched him take off like that. But I walked from that skyscraper home. It would have been it would have been like 4 or 5 Ks.
Yeah.
But they were like, as I was leaving, they're like, oh, we got all these fucking Coronas left. I don't know what we're going to do with them. I had my work pants on. I had more pockets than you could poke a stick at. So it's just fucking
Caboose your
5
nose.
kilometres walking through Redcliffe, clink, down the main strip, walking past my old high school in the middle of the fucking day.
Waving to your teachers. Told you I'm out to something. Who's the fucking now? I've got 5 free beers.
Yeah, I drank them all by the time I got home. I would have gone through like 6 or 7 beers in 5 Ks or something like that. Just clinking down the main strip. So like you'd finish a beer, put it in the bin, and then pull another one out of your back pocket and fucking crack that.
Smash it open on the side of the
No, he's
path.
putting it in the bin. He's looking after the environment. He's a change.
beautiful.
I was going to say, I was
Greta.
like, I'm not getting in the car with this guy. He's clearly pissed. You start walking and he runs you over. And he's like, I told you it was safer in the car.
I didn't think he got out of the car park, to be honest. I think he stopped for a kip, but
We've all turned on the ignition and went, maybe not tonight, champ.
yeah. No, there's always a clue, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's always-
Can't get the key in the hole. You're like, I reckon I'll nap this one out for a couple
I
of
did a
hours.
tour, like this like really, really quick tour with Harley Breen in northern Queensland, and we just did 3 nights, and there was this, everyone drinks and drives in the country. Like,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
like, what are we supposed to do? Get an Uber? I don't think so. Fuck off. Anyway, everyone was at this tiny little pub, and there was no houses around. I think the closest house would have been kilometres away. There was enough people in there drinking heavily, and we were like, how the fuck are these guys? What's going on? Is that a courtesy bus? And they laughed at us like we was fucking idiots. They were like, a what? And we're like, nothing, so keep drinking. This one guy drank so much he couldn't even stand up. And it was actually so funny because it was the time where it was the yes vote or the no vote. And
And what were they voting, you reckon?
I reckon they were definitely voting no, because they said the woman behind the bar was looking at Harley and I think she'd looked on our Instagram accounts that day, and she'd seen that both of us had recently made posts being like, vote yes, it's the right thing to do. Anyway, she came for a fight, so she was looking at us.
Yeah.
And we were just like, oh, lovely pub. Thanks very much for having us. And she goes, yeah, it is lovely on our land. And we were like, what? We were like, okay, that's fine. But instantly we were like, oh, okay, she's ready to punch us. And we're like, okay, this is great. And she goes, yeah, you know that vote. We're like, yeah. And she goes, I'm comfortable voting no. And we're like, oh, yeah, okay, that's great. Well, good on you. Like, as if we're going to argue with you.
Yeah,
We're
thank
like,
God we're in a democracy. You do what you want.
It's clear sometimes the message doesn't get out to country towns because in her mind, if she voted yes, they're taking her pub away from her. Like, that's not what's going to happen.
No one cares. But
That is not what's happening here.
It's funny going out there. Like, I do it a bit. Old man lives out there or whatever, and you just have to like sort of. I can get away with it. I look like I belong out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you look
you're
like
fine.
you belong out there. It's just a matter of not opening your fucking mouth sometimes.
No. Yeah, you keep your opinions very
Or
much
don't
to
ask
yourself.
anyone a question. Yeah, but she
Yeah.
eventually, because she was
Scrape the
so
fucking-
fine
Yeah.
with this. She was so fine with like she was so ready for a fight. But we were like not giving it to her. We were like, okay, great, that's fine, awesome.
Yeah.
And then she points like directly at this old fella who's been sitting at the bar for 40,000 years. She points at him, and it's
They
like
built
her
a bub around him, I heard.
she put like her fingers close to his face, and he's not moved at all, and he's really tan. They look like they've just left him in the sun forever. And she goes, I'm voting no because he said I could. And we're like, oh, do you think he's a First Nations person? We're like, are you Aboriginal? And he goes, me? Wouldn't have thought so. And she was like, oh, aren't you? We're like, fuck, you've thought Greg because he's so tanned, you're like, hey, Greg, can I vote no? He goes, do what you like. And so she voted no. And then that was her reason. And then in that moment, she realised he's not Indigenous at all. And she's like, oh, fuck, where are you from then, Greg? Walk
You've been
out.
sitting here for 50 years. I've never bothered to ask you one question.
Fucking
also,
hell.
he's never said an actual sentence in his
Never.
whole life.
Nah, never, man. A mate of mine got a job where he has to travel a lot out, like, sort of west of the coast. And he's very left. Very, very, very left. And he went out to Maryborough. He's got family out there and stayed there the night. And when he woke up, his, like, not his gram, but, like, his gram's boyfriend had scraped all of his bumper stickers off.
Oh.
Like, you're like vote yes,
Yeah.
greens, scraped all his bumper stickers off.
He kept the up the bum no babies one on.
Yeah. And he was like, why'd you do that? He's like, for you. Like,
To protect
I
him.
don't disagree with your bumper stickers, but you'll get killed.
Yeah.
I thought he was
That's
just
a
being a cunt. He's like,
beautiful
no, brother, I'm trying to help you
yeah.
out here.
I'm doing you a big favour. You can't go to the pub in that. You know, like,
Yeah, they are ready to kill people in the country, aren't they?
Man, even like Kalgoorlie, I had white around my shoes.
Gay.
And everyone at the party will like go on the pub, and then like, we're like 17, but we're still getting into the pub, obviously.
Yeah.
And he's
It's
like,
Kalgoorlie.
he goes, I wouldn't wear those, and I was like, why? And he goes, everyone's gonna think you're fucking gay. And I was like, for having a little bit of white on my black shoes, yep. And he goes, mate, I would fucking dust those up quickly. So I was out the front just rubbing it in red dirt. Yeah, they'll kind of pass.
But
Yeah.
there's something. It must be something in their beer because they're always ready to fight. I just was in
the
Coolman
heat, the
recently.
sun.
there's nothing else to do.
Then fight. You're right.
And
But they're all,
honestly,
like, ready to
fighting's kind of fun.
It
But
is
they're,
really
they're
fun.
ready to
It's
fight
heaps
even
of fun.
ladies. Like I went to this. I was at this pub in Coolman near Wagga. I was walking past this table, and there was two blokes there, and it was like my dad's wake as well. So it was like you know what I mean. Like I was like I don't know what. So there's two blokes in like high vis. As I'm walking past, they go,
Wake attire.
yeah, exactly. Walk past, and they go. This one bloke goes, "Oi, are you the comedian?" And I went,
It's gonna be good.
Grace
I
gonna be
said,
good.
yeah. Did you know my dad? And they go, yeah, I know your dad. Are you a comedian? Yeah. Tell us a joke. I said, I'm not going to tell you a joke. I'm not going to tell you a joke. And he goes, well, are you a comedian then? He goes, you don't look like a comedian. And I was like, and you don't look well. What's going on? What are we doing here? And then my brother's
You
friend.
don't need fluoro. You're that
What?
fat. Everyone can see you.
Yeah.
My friend.
You're so red. You're so red.
Your nose. You need a glass of water. It is so red. Are you auditioning for Rudolph?
You don't have to, like, it's...
It just
People
such a-
mistook you for the Min lights. It's, you're too
so
red,
annoying.
dude.
Then my friend Jessie walked over. She was like, hello. She was like, checking if I was okay. And they go point like at her face. Again, what's this country people pointing? They go, now that looks like a comedian. And she's
Brutal.
like, what? We're like, what are you talking about? And then she said something like, oh, I'm not really interested in talking to you or something like that. All polite. And he goes, oh, don't talk to me like that unless you're willing to let me put something in your mouth. And she was like, beg your pardon? And then they both kind of like puffed their chests out. We're just like two ladies at a wake.
Yeah.
We're like in like dresses.
Yeah, I once again forgot you were at a wake, but this still happened.
We're
And
like,
it's my dad who's
what?
just passed away.
We're like, pardon?
It's
I'd like made
crazy.
it very clear. It was they were like ready to fight us over me not looking like a comedian and her looking like, what does that even mean, cunt? It was so bizarre. We like walked away and we're like, that is the weirdest. And as I was leaving, like an hour later, he was sitting with my stepmom, and she was in a bit of a state. And
Again,
I'm like,
awake.
Yeah, her partner's
What's she
funeral.
crying for?
He's been dead for a week.
I think he was like trying to cheer her up. He like nudged my stepmom, was like pointing at me. He goes, "Do you reckon she's a comedian?" And she was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Tell us a joke then." I'm like, "Are you serious?" I'm so annoyed by
I
him.
was going to say, as soon as you left that conversation with those two guys initially with the finger in the mouth, sucking it off or whatever, as soon as you walked off, he would have turned to his mates like, she was gagging for it. You know what I mean? Like,
Every
oh,
time.
I mean, you wait, mate. She'll be coming right
Every
back.
time.
Yeah, give it time. We'll
We'll win her by being really mean.
Hey, guess what, sweetheart? There's no other options around here. By default, you have to fuck me.
And one just died.
Yeah.
So
My way around it has always been where they're like, oh, tell us a joke. I always just say, well, what do you do, mate? And they're like, oh, I'm a fucking painter. I was like, sick, I got a house you can sort out.
Oh, that's clever.
Just,
that's
you
good.
do what you're a mechanic? Sick. I think my starter's on the way out.
Can
Come
you
have
have
a
a
look
quick
at this.
look at that, and then I'll tell you a joke?
I'll tell you a joke while you do a radiator flush. You stupid dog.
That's actually a fucking really good way of addressing it. I just tell them the worst joke ever, and then I'm like, why did I bother doing that? And they're like, this guy's a fucking idiot.
Brady, oh my God, I don't know if I've told this as a story of the pod yet, but Jack, one time I took Brady to my hometown, which is Coolman near Wagga, and there's at the end of the gig, we'd just both done half an hour each on stage. It was great. We both did very well, and they loved it. And then this fella came over and sat with us, and he had like Byron Bay sunnies on his head with the sticker still on. He was missing most of his teeth.
Oh yeah, the guy that I could because he was chatting you up, and I was sitting to the right hand side of him, and through the side of his teeth, because he had missing teeth, I could see the ladies' toilet sign, and to me that was my favourite part of the night.
But he said to us, he goes, hey, yeah, thanks for coming out. I was just wondering if you guys could tell me your best joke. And we'd both, we were like, well, probably one of them. Like, take your pick. Like, one of those. They both
did 2 hours.
Yeah. One of those. And he goes, no. And Brady goes, okay, I think maybe a more interesting question is like, what's the biggest heckle you've had, or what's the worst gig you've ever had?
I
or
was trying to help him.
And he goes, oh yeah. Nah, tell us your best joke, eh? And so Brett and I just disengage. I'm like, no, thanks. I look away, and then Brett sells this joke. Brett goes, okay, and does a joke where he has to lean in. He's like yelling in it, and the man's just sitting there looking at it. And Brett finishes the joke and turns to the guy, and the guy goes, oh yeah. I was like, Brett, you just bombed in front of one guy.
Dude, I bombed so hard, and I was like, where's that lady's toilet again? Trying to look through his... But the best part, I was like, he came up to the table, because obviously he would have been a cool guy back in the day, right? He had his board shorts on, he had rip curl on, he's nowhere near a fucking ocean, he's got the Oakley, he's looking the part.
The Mambos.
Yeah, and he's got time has not been his friend. He's continued to drink 18 beers a day like when he was 18.
Yeah. No sunscreen.
No, and he would have been a ladies' man back in the day, but he saw a table full of 3 women. One passed out, 4 women, one was passed out.
No problem for
and
him.
then he went, fuck, I like the odds here. I'm going to go get into this mix. And then all of a sudden is me going, hey, anyway, what do you think about this joke? He's like, can this guy fuck off? I'm trying to get a root here.
Oh,
Man.
It was. As soon as she passed out, he turned up as well. Yeah, it was great.
With fellas like that, the greatest disarm I've ever come up with is they'll ask you, like, what's your favourite joke? What's your best joke? Whatever. I go, don't you want to just get a beer instead? And they never, ever say no.
Yeah.
You just go, do you want to just go to the bar and get a schooner instead? They go, oh, yeah.
So you just ask him on a date, and it's
Yeah,
over.
let's just have a schooner. Like, what are you talking about? What's your favourite joke?
I rather bomb than sit there and have a beer with them.
No,
that's way more of a bunny.
That's the trick. You just fuck off to the loo.
Yeah.
Disappear, go to the forest, 6 months. All it takes, Brady. That's all you do.
You want to be there? Yeah, bye.
That's what I used to do when blokes used to try and pick fights with me at the pub.
Oh.
It happened to me a lot growing up. We had one pub left because they all one of them got hit by lightning, the other one burnt down. There was really only one
unrelated.
left.
What is this town, by the way? You know what I mean?
Don't worry about it. And
Well, it doesn't exist anymore.
no, it got smoked. So it's
Yeah.
gone, wiped off the
A
map.
UFO took off with it. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's gone. But so blokes are it was just one of those pubs where people go, oh, you want to fight? It just happened. This bloke was bothering. We were out, group of people. We had 2 ladies with us, and they were being bothered. And I was just looking at the guy, what is he even doing? And he's like, oh, you want to fight over it? I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's have a blue. I'll meet you out there. You go out there. And you let him walk out first, and he walked out front, and I said to the secchi, hey, that bloke's trying to fight me. And then they don't let him back in.
Genius.
I've never thought of that strategy.
Very good.
And the best part of it is they try and come back in. Oh, you're back in, you know.
And then, I told you, he's trying to fight me.
Yeah, and then you just go back to drinking your schooner.
Fuck, Harley Breen had a great one he told us.
Mate,
He goes out to have a fight, lines up with the guy, and then just takes his pants down and his shirt off, and the guy's like, hang on, mate.
Yeah.
I'm not gay. Yes, disarm.
Yeah, the problem is one day you'll run into a bloke who doesn't care, and now you got your pants around your ankles.
Yes.
There's no running to be
Remember that time
done.
Harley pulled his pants down in the car park and absolutely got rooted? Fuck. That 1 out of 100 scary. Yeah.
It's a numbers game, man, and sometimes you don't roll well, you know? Like,
you got to roll that dice, baby.
I've got a habit of knowing where the fire escape is in every venue I go to. Like
Do you know where it is here right now?
Back room.
Incredible.
You can go through. There's a bit of drywall you can run through and go out the back. But
Jack's always got a spoon on him. He can burrow out of here. I could be here for 12 years. I ain't going out that front door.
I got time.
Got plenty of time.
Now,
No,
Jackie-
I had to leave that pub through the fire escape more times than I can count. Because
Yeah.
you'd be like, yeah, no worries, I'll fight you outside. Just wait out there. I'm just going to finish my schooner. And then you finish your schooner and politely walk out the fire escape.
And then set it on fire, and never ever can anyone fight you again.
Yeah.
So you used to be in the army. How long were you in the army for?
I did 8 years as a reservist.
Oh.
So, like,
That's a long
part-time
time.
soldier, but yeah, 8 years.
That's a long time.
It was a good job.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I liked it. It was a
It
good
does
job.
suit you.
Well, what happened, I didn't have any money, and
Okay.
I needed a job. And they were screaming for people.
Yep.
And I went and did the interviews and that, and like the aptitude tests, and I did really, really well at them. They said, do you want to be an officer?
Oh.
You've scored well enough, we'll put you in as a military officer.
Can you give me an example of one of the questions?
Oh,
that
what is
wouldn't
your
be
name?
on-
Nailed it. You're in.
Fuck, you're
well,
great.
one of the first
Sergeant.
questions is that when you go to sit the test, there's a pen and a crayon, and depending on which one you pick,
Oh my God, have we got a colonel on over here? What the fuck's going on here?
yeah, I brought my own pen, and that really fucking
Whoa,
rattled them. So
yeah.
if you start chewing on the crayon, you're an infantryman. Put him in the holding cell with the rest of them. Just keep throwing in the Crayolas. They won't complain, you know.
I love them.
They'll start fighting each other. They don't even know what's going on.
You've got to point him in the right direction when it's a war, otherwise I'll go the other way.
But when you like do that, and you go, all right, I'll be an officer. They send you the OSB, the Officer Selection Board, or whatever it is, and they ask you sort of a bunch of questions. But before they do that, they get one bloke to interview you before you even do that, just to make sure you're not going to completely fucking eat it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
An officer, by the way, it's like higher than just...
well, you just go in as a lieutenant.
Okay, great. So
So
you're not as... And what's
there's just like the ranks, non-commissioned officer, and then a commissioned officer. It's a whole different rank structure.
Okay, great. So it's quite high up.
Yeah, and there's a lot of responsibility and that kind of thing. But like, I got to that interview, and they're like, "Why do you want to be an officer?" And I was like, "Well, the recruiter said it paid more."
Great.
And they were like, "That's probably not an awesome reason to lead men in war."
Yeah, but am I getting per kill? You know,
Yeah.
is it
You
commission
know,
based?
like-
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
So in the end, they were like, "Well, your second option is combat engineer. Do you want to blow stuff up?" I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and I did that.
That's perfect. That suits you better.
I signed the papers there and then. I was like, "What is this job?" Like, "Hey, you blow shit up, build some bridges." I'm like,
That is
Put
the one.
me
Build a bridge,
in.
blow it up.
I
That's
actually can't believe
perfect.
you left that, because that
Yeah.
seems right up your alley.
"Well, you get older in the body and that kind of thing."
Is that what happened? It was just
Well, yeah, look, age and a couple other.
You didn't get fired.
No,
Never been fired.
It's pretty fucking hard to get sacked from the army.
Is it?
Yeah, you
That's like teaching. It's really
fail
hard.
upwards.
Okay.
Because well, like,
Yeah.
if there's an officer you don't like, if there's someone in the army that isn't liked, very hard to get rid of them. It's a
Yeah.
nightmare to get rid of someone.
Yeah.
But if you promote them, they generally get posted to a different unit.
God, that's clever. That is like teaching,
So
actually.
when you see a guy with heaps of badges on, you're like, that's an annoying cunt
that's
right
a
there.
fucking, yeah.
Not always.
Yeah.
But sometimes.
Yeah, right. I didn't
Yeah.
even... That's so funny. It's like, how do we get rid of this cunt? Hey, champ, do you want an extra 20 grand a year? See
Yes,
ya.
please.
So, yeah, just go sit in that mail office and never talk to another soul.
Oh, my
Thank
God.
you.
Do you miss it?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't really like. I like blowing stuff up and stuff,
Yep.
but I didn't like the work that much. I really only stayed in for 8 years because I liked the camaraderie.
Yeah.
Like
That's what would be my
all
favourite
the
part. Just
hanging
like-
out with all the blokes.
Yeah,
and like,
yeah.
It's funny. People always say like doing comedy and stuff. They're like, "Oh, you must hear a lot of crook stuff doing comedy. People must say some pretty dark stuff to you." It's like,
Yeah.
you have no idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is
Some
why
of the shit I've heard in the back of a mog after a 2-week exercise would make your fucking toes curl, man. Just talking to some cunt who hasn't showered in 2 weeks.
he's
Got more dick cheese than the Bega Corporation.
Oh!
You know what I mean? Just talking about what he's going to do when he gets home. Yeah, I'm going to get home. Fucking, you know, it's like, oh my God.
And you know he's not having a shower for
You're
another 2
not-
weeks after
like,
he gets
it's
home.
just, yeah.
I think
like,
he came to my dad's wake. Anyway, so there
You're
was...
sitting on Bron.
Yeah.
you would have smelled him.
It's my boyfriend.
But like, yeah, you know, I do miss it. It was a good job. Like,
So do you, this is what I'm like really interested. The transition from going from somewhere where there's so much discipline and so many rules and there's no snowflakes. I'll use one of your terms.
Thank you.
Okay. So, and then going from that to a regular job where there is lots of...
I always worked a regular job alongside.
Okay.
So I worked for the army and the job.
Oh, yep.
I worked a full-time job and a part-time job for 9 years, and then did comedy and like boxing on top of that. So I've always worked over 40 hours.
So you just never watched the telly?
I didn't have one for yonks. When me and the missus moved in together,
You didn't have power out in the forest?
I
or
didn't.
You didn't have a generator out there in your
No
little
screen
bunker?
in the Tarago?
I
or-
trapped a bird behind the frame, and
It was dancing around. It was majestical. Yeah,
yeah. Instead of knobs, I had little rocks just throwing it. But when we moved in together, I didn't own a telly. She didn't own a telly, but like somehow I'd ended up with a TV cabinet and no TV. So
That is
So
so jackknife.
I just put the TV cabinet under the wall sconces, and I used to she would sit on the couch, and I'd turn the lights off and on real fast. That's all we had.
That's beautiful. And is this...
God,
and is
it's
this
love at first sight.
And is this the lovely girlfriend you've got now?
Yeah, yeah.
That she thought this is a keeper.
We had nothing.
Well, the best
Oh,
part was
that's nice.
I've met her before, and if everyone's wondering what that sound is, it's just started pissing down in Brisbane.
Beautiful.
But I met her backstage, and she's so lovely
Yeah,
and
Danica,
nice.
so
and
nice.
she's like, "I'm Jack's partner." I was like, "What?"
Yeah,
I
it's
thought
always
it'd be like
confusing.
this Yeti-looking, wearing potato sack, wearing. She's just an angel. I was like,
No.
"Oh my lord!"
It's not about what she looks like. 'cause
No, but
you're a
she's
very handsome
beautiful and
man.
elegant and
Yeah, she
very well
is.
spoken.
But
That's-
she's so gentle, and
Yes.
she's like, you know, she has like a. What I've noticed about her, she always has like a little book in her bag, and she'll be like Jack will be talking to
Sketching.
someone, and she'll just take her book out, and she'll just sketch it, and it'll be incredible. It'll be amazing. I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? How
I
do you
don't know
love
what-
him?
I
How do you
don't
love
know.
anyone that much that you're willing to sketch him? Like you see this kind of every day. You
Well, you
wake
haven't
up
looked at
next
the drawing.
to
The
him.
drawing's got his face with knives going into it.
Yeah, no, it's bizarre. I don't know how I've done it. It's a
She's
real
wonderful, but you're
yeah.
wonderful. It makes sense. It makes sense when you get to know you. But first off, if you just watched your
It's
comedy,
a tough intro.
yeah,
Like, I'm a very I fully
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah,
Please go
good.
watch Jack if you ever get a chance to do
Oh.
him stand up. He's one of my favourite comics, and I fucking hate following him. It's a fucking nightmare. But
is
you
hard.
wouldn't watch that and go, "That's the man of my dreams."
Yeah,
Because-
I remember, like, I guess it's kind of work related, even though we're off the rails a wee bit. But first time I ever did a run at the store in Sydney.
in Sydney, yep.
It's always a big moment for
Yeah,
you.
and they
Yeah.
pay heaps.
You know, it's a covered gig. Doesn't matter about their pay. It is a
But
big gig.
it's a
yeah.
big get,
It's a big
especially
gig.
coming from Brisbane.
Yeah.
I never expected.
No, of course, man.
Expected to do anything,
When
make
you get your
anything.
name on the lights, it's
Get your
fucking
name in the
incredible.
lights anyway. And like before a set, I'm always to get the energy off. I'm shadow boxing in the green room. I'm just giving it some, getting the energy off. And they got a mirror back there next to the stage. I'm in front of the mirror,
Full
just
taxi. Are you talking to me?
well, yeah, just
fucking talking to me?
just shaking off the energy, and
That's
like I was doing
terrifying.
that, and then I like turned around, and I think there were two ladies on the lineup or whatever, and everybody was just looking like they were next.
What, like you were going to punch him in the
like,
face?
They were like, what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah.
And then the MC come up, he's like, oh, what are you doing? You getting ready? I was like, you got to have a plan B, brother.
Dude, there is no emergency exit. I need to get fucking ready to get out of here.
And he was like, oh. And I did the set and it went well, thank God, because you can't do that and then back it up with a bomb.
oh my
you
God,
can't
it's
do
so
that.
embarrassing.
Oh my
But I'd
God.
love to have seen
But
that. Yeah.
it went well, and it went well, and that kind of thing. But like, that's just so yeah, the tough guy to get around sometimes.
Man, speaking of, I
I'm between jobs right now.
Yeah.
And I've been hanging out with myself, and I have to admit it's tough.
yeah.
It's pretty.
Brother,
But
I
you
need a
don't-
break. You're like taking fucking oxy and shit. You're like, I need a break from
But
me.
you don't change gear. Like you don't change.
No.
You don't, like, you will do the same. And I think this is a good thing. And
You don't go to them.
Like, you're not like, oh, okay, no, I'll be more gentle with you guys. You might change the jokes, but you've got a stage persona, and that is it. Like, and it is you.
Yeah.
And it is you. You're probably friendlier off stage than you are on stage.
It depends who you are, but yeah.
Yeah. But it's so much fun to watch. And you're one of the comedians that comedians will come out and watch, because it's like you don't know what you're going to say next, and your jokes are so good. So if you ever
please.
get the
Thank you.
chance to see Jack Knight live, we highly recommend it. However, I must know, because we talk about your good gigs, we can talk about those, and that's, very boring, but what is the worst gig you've ever done?
That one in Caboolture was pretty
Yeah,
bad.
okay.
That was genuinely quite dreadful.
So who did you think was going to bash you? The woman who yelled out, "Have you got a
All of
vagina?"
them. All of them. Every one of them. You couldn't see, like with the lights and that, you can't always see the crowd.
Yep.
But by gum, could you see the ankle bracelets? So just beeping in the
Beeping
dark.
away?
Yeah. I imagine that's what it's like being
These things fucking work. They're clearly out of their home. Fuck. No.
Where's the curfew?
We nominated the pub as home. This is home.
This is my address.
Yeah.
I sleep between the double dragons. That was a bad one, man. I've had some other like.
But I feel like you'd be good at like dealing with a rough crowd because it's it's in your blood.
I never get heckled. Just about. Caboolture's the only place to ever heckle me.
But have you ever done?
A, there's very few gaps.
Okay,
I'm quite quick.
Yes.
Very quick.
And B, people usually don't bother. I've seen people want to heckle, and then I've watched them wait for the next act.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
just held it in.
I've
Brett's
seen
up
you
next.
on stage with a trench coat sometimes, and I'm like, no one is heckling that guy.
Yeah.
He's definitely got shit in his pockets.
Yeah.
It's not a trench coat, but yeah.
It's got that vibe, dude.
For sure.
It's that cargo jacket. It's got
Yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of pocket.
Someone asked me once, I bet you got knives in there. I was like, no, man, I'm not a caricature. I don't have fucking knives. And then I got back in the car and went back to the car to get my keys out, and I did have my. I was like, I did have a knife. Shit, what
I
am I
believe someone else is a child like me, because Bronny was over the other day. I was like, check out the taser I've got. She's like, what do you need that for? I'm like, dude, it's for cattle. It's
He was like, it was cheap.
Cattle, that's for buddies.
Yeah, I know. I said, you buy it for
God.
cattle.
Yeah.
Came with a holster. I was like, what? She's like, what are you going to do with that? I was like, I don't know, but it's sick.
That
You're like,
is
it's cheap.
pretty-
It was only $120 or something. I was like, you idiot.
That's good financial.
Is it?
Man,
What is
it's
it?
great,
It's
man.
an asset. It's an asset.
That's an asset for
It's a
sure.
fucking asset, dude. It's going up in value because they're going to outlaw them pretty soon when they realise what people are buying them for.
Oh, well, their intended purpose?
Yeah.
What else are you doing?
Oh, no, they're marketed as if you're a
cattle prod.
livestock
Yeah.
cattle prod, and you're like,
Yeah.
this is not what it is,
and they're
dude.
just sending it to Melbourne suburbia.
Yeah.
It's great.
That's fine. No red
In the
flags
mail.
here.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
just got to see what you can get away with. I bought knuckle dusters online. It's sick. It says it's meat tenderizers. Yeah, their face. Yeah. I'm not going to fight anyone with them, but I'm like, surely this doesn't exist.
It's funny some of the weapons you are and aren't allowed to have. Like, you're allowed a whip, but you're not allowed specifically a cat of nine tails. How about that? No flails. Can't have a flail.
What
Very
is
easy.
any of the things you're saying?
What is a flail?
It's like a mace, but instead of a solid handle, it's got a bit of chain.
So
but you
what
can
is a
make one of
cat
those
and-
at home very easy.
I mean, we've all been...
Bit of stick welding.
Yeah, we've all done that.
You can have
Bit of
one whip,
stick-
you can hit them once, but not 9 times at the same time.
No,
there has to be a
no.
fucking level to it.
There has to. You
And
have
what did you
to
say?
pay.
Cat and nine tails?
Cat and nine tails.
It's like
they used to
9 whips in one.
They used to
Oh,
hit
no,
fucking, like,
okay.
sailors
Okay,
and
so
shit
that...
with them in those
Yeah.
movies, you know?
Oh, so that's
cool.
medieval
Yeah,
shit.
but
And they
no,
still make them.
Yeah. They still make a lot of stuff.
What are some weapons you've got at home, Jack Knight?
Yeah, I love this chat. Also, and I know he won't tell us exactly what he's
He
got.
won't.
He's a little bit like
It's
me.
so secretive. It's all in the go
I
bag.
don't know. I got a lot of knives. I got like just.
You don't have guns.
No. No.
Okay, don't.
No. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I wouldn't shave the serial numbers off. I wouldn't.
My roommate's like, what have you got a gun safe for? I was like, it's empty. There's nothing in there. What do you think's fucking in there, dickhead?
Yeah,
You've got guns? Oh, you do.
I got a few axes and hatchets.
Oh, is this because you like Dungeons and Dragons, or do you
No,
actually
I
think
do
there's
a lot
going to
of
be?
woodworking too.
Okay.
So-
And you've got acreage as well.
No, I don't have acreage.
Okay,
are you
I was trying to help
talking
you out
about?
there, brother. You're like, no, I'm in the CBD.
I don't even have a tree, mate.
Don't even have a popland in my house. Got no reason for it.
I just like them.
He does woodwork. That's what he does.
What other-
Okay, he
What
does
other-
woodworking, and that's it.
I don't have that many other weapons. So
That
it's a bit
sounds
of
like a lot of weapons.
It's whatever. It's
A collection
when
of
the ex
hatchets.
broke up, and we were going through all the stuff, dividing whatever. So she's like, so the couch, the nice crockery, the pots and pans, they're all mine. The bow and arrow, the machete, the axe, the baseball, but that's yours. I'm like, have I got anything nice? You know what I mean? Like, do I have one? I'm like, the TV's mine. I'll give you the TV.
You made your
though.
choices.
Yeah.
You
I
made
was
your
like,
choices.
Kappa helped me move. He's like, is this inside? And this is coming from Nick Kappa. He goes, this is inside the mind of a 12-year-old boy. You got 2 skateboards. You're like,
Oh my
have you got
God.
anything like MMA gloves? Never used them. Just all this.
Just in case.
I do
Put it in
have a
your
lot
bag.
of. I don't think it counts as a weapon, but I do have a lot of boxing equipment.
Yeah.
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 You must
Listen
miss
to
boxing. You're not allowed to do it because your lovely girlfriend said you're getting hit in the head too often.
I'm getting old and
She's like,
How old
if
are
anyone's
you?
hitting you in the head, it's
28,
me.
but 28's
28.
old for boxing.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And nothing good happens.
Nothing good happens.
Nothing good.
Because your young people stay young, you get old, and fuck, do they hit you.
And you can just fight the comedians backstage at the comic store.
I don't have to, honestly. You just have to fight nothing near them, and they get
That's
quite
scary enough.
They get
That
quite
is terrifying.
spooked.
You know what I saw at the comedy? This is just a bit of a sidetrack, but it was a weird one. When I was doing the Comedy Store, Sacha Baron Cohen was on trying his new stage show. And obviously, because he's an international celebrity and with a lot of people trying to probably fuck him up, he had like 2 dudes, ex-SAS guys, backstage who you weren't allowed to certain areas and backstage, and they're fucking staunch dudes. And I had a few beers. Yeah. And the guy goes, "You can't be in here." And I was like, "I'm going on stage, and there's the curtains there, so I have no other options." He's like, "You're gonna have to figure out another way of getting onto stage." And I was like, "Can't. Unless you're gonna choke me out, this is the only way I can fucking get onto this fucking stage, right? This is not a war. This is a comedy gig. I need to fucking get through that curtain. I'm not gonna go out through 300 people, climb onto the stage."
It's so embarrassing.
And he was staunching me there, and I was like, I'm going past.
Whoa.
I've never shat more in my life. I actually thought I'd turn around and then I'd just wake up at home and what happened?
One of the coolest things I've ever seen. Like, I saw this guy and I was like, that is a man from a film. It was unbelievable. I was at the Singleton Barracks, like the infantry training barracks, and I think they have there's some special force unit there. I think there's a commando unit there or something. But anyway, this dude drove past on a motorbike with an issued bandolier and this huge fuck-off Bowie knife on him. T-shirt, army pants, boots. Big fucking stash. I was like, holy shit.
And was that cool? Is that a cool thing to see?
I was like, that was
That's
insane.
pretty cool.
That was fucking insane.
It's pretty cool.
And you know, it was, but because normally you see that, right, and you go, what a poser.
Yes,
But
that's what
he
I
was
would
driving to the commando unit.
Okay.
This is all real. He could, it's very rare you see someone like that and go, he actually can back that.
Right.
He can look like that and back it. That's rare.
Unless he was driving there and being like, look how good. And they're like, fuck off, mate. You come here every day. We said no. You're not real. Give that stuff back to your dad.
He just does a lap of them let me in, boys.
Come on, I'm dressed up like you. Come on. It's like a cosplay
You
thing.
see my cool pistol.
Oh, you do get that.
Yeah.
You must get that.
Even I feel like, because I didn't deploy for combat or anything like that. I was only a reservist. So I don't even feel like a real soldier. Do you know what I mean? It's not, I didn't really do the whole thing. You know what I mean? So it's very weird. Technically, on paper, I have a veteran's card and that, I have medals kind of thing, but it still feels like I didn't do anything. You know?
But you do, even if you're... I still think reserves, just as, they're ready to go. I mean, they're not on the front line or whatever, but you're still... you're putting your hand up, whereas a lot of people don't, so you should be proud of that.
You do the training or whatever, but it's always weird, especially when you meet Yanks or whatever, and they're like, oh, thank you for your service. It's like, fuck off. It's a job.
Yeah.
I did it for money. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not
I made it
noble.
perfectly
I signed
clear.
up to blow people up because I was poor. It's not. You know what I mean?
I love how serious Americans take it as well.
I lived in a Ford Falcon and I needed blood money.
It was either that or going to South Africa for diamonds. I was willing to kill.
That's where I was at.
I did a gig on a little small cruise ship, and there was an American couple on there, and they're full. Which is good. They respect their soldiers so much. I fucking love that. And I was kind of ribbing a guy. I was like, "What do you do?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm in the, I'm in the army or whatever." And I was mucking around, being a bit of a cheeky fuck, and because he was jacked as fuck, and I was like, "Oh, let's see, I'll make fun of the guy who can clearly kill me, so no one's whatever."
Yeah.
But at the end of it, this lady came up to me. She's like, "You should never speak to someone from the military like that. I need you to go up and apologise."
Oh my God.
And it was on a small boat, and she was actually quite nice the rest of the night. And she goes, "You should actually really go up to him and say thank you for your service." I was like, you know what? I will. And then I had a few cans, and I was like, but I got to know the guy quite well. So I went up to him, I shook his hand and said, "Thank you for your service, but deep down, I know you were in the fucking kitchen." And he goes, "Oh yeah, I never saw any heat."
That's the truth of it,
Yeah.
man.
But he had a good laugh with it. He probably did heaps of
it's
shit, but it
just
was
a
mucking around.
It's a job, you know. It's just a job.
You should respect the vets. I love. If you go down the RSL. I'm always buying them beers. Some of them they're not even their medals. I don't know. I'm not questioning it.
Well, if they're wearing them on the fuck shit, I should know this. If they're wearing them on the left, they're not theirs.
They're not there. Oh, okay.
You have to wear it on a
sure.
specific side if they're your medals.
Okay.
Right.
So
Well, this is the
So
RSL.
you've probably been duped a couple of times.
Yeah, I'm a
Yeah.
fucking idiot. I didn't know.
I've seen you read and write. You're not getting left and right correct every time.
Hey, I'm surprised you've seen me read. That's
all right.
shocking. You can leave it there.
I reckon you're at Anzac Day doing this to vets. left.
Righty tighty.
Oh, fuck there, left.
Has anyone got a mirror? I'm just buying everyone beers. It's easier.
Beautiful. But the RSL near our house has this is in Coburg, has a cabinet, and it's got that. What's his name? Ben Robert Smith.
Yeah, yeah.
It's got all of his a tribute to him in
Wasn't
there.
that a debacle?
Well, I'm like, are we still giving him a thumbs up?
I
Like,
don't
It's
know.
What
too
is
hard to
that?
unpack.
Is
Yeah.
it?
Well, I don't think. I don't think
look,
so. But
just quietly, this podcast probably isn't the place that's going to get answered.
yeah. In their
I like to
defense,
raise the questions.
Also, I don't think the people at the Coburg RSL have just had a really look at what they've got there. You know what I mean?
that's
I still
true.
feel like
Good
some of
place.
those guns definitely work. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that.
Don't tell Jack Knight these.
Yeah.
How to get to
They
Coburg.
They would have welded anyway.
Jack.
Come on, Brett, grow up.
Well, Jack, just before we leave you, have you ever quit in spectacular fashion?
Oh,
have you ever
yeah.
just gone, fuck you, I'm out of here?
I'm going to the forest for 6 months.
I tried once and no one cared.
Oh.
I quit the Dominoes. I'm like, I'm done. I'm out. And they're like, yeah, someone does this every week, man. So every single week, someone quits like this.
Yeah.
No one fucking.
We don't care.
No one gives a shit, dude.
Yeah.
I got moved. I didn't quit, but I
Like
got.
the military, they gave you a promotion to get rid of you?
I never got promoted, I assure you. But
Wasn't annoying
when I was
enough.
on that fencing mob, obviously me and the bloke did not get along. And we kind of, there was, look, you know, I did something wrong, he did something wrong. We couldn't work it out amicably. And I said I would put his second chin on the other side of his neck.
Yeah, I love threatening
That's
some at
all.
work.
It
It's
was
so good.
amicable.
Because no one can prove it if they're not around. And there's no HR in fencing.
There's no HR in fencing, I can tell you that right now.
That is HR.
Yeah. Big H.
Right here, brother.
Just a big H knuckle. Oh, there's no big R on that. Fucking
Dude's got
one,
it
two,
tatted on
brother.
his fist,
Yeah, HR. You should see his cousin. Fair work, brother. But,
Check out Compo. Bang.
how big is the R?
Yeah, it's huge, dude.
Comp. Ooh. But no, I got just sort of gently moved onto a different crew.
Right.
They're like, you two can't work together anymore.
That's nice.
Or there'll be it just isn't working.
Yeah,
So-
I can't imagine the guy that hit
didn't-
someo's hand with a hammer. Yeah, didn't react well.
Well, you're stealing my tools.
Oh man, dude, there's
I had
nothing.
Culture.
I had Milwaukee.
Oh yeah, that's
What do
not
you
cheap.
want, Brett? Fuck's sake. He's going to smash you with a hammer in a sec.
Yeah, I mean I'm a Makita
Pull
man,
your
but that's
fucking head in.
we know it's neither here
That's
nor
all right.
there.
I'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we can talk about that later. But no, there's nothing worse than when you see like tradies getting their tools taken because they're so fucking expensive.
There's literally nothing worse.
Well,
That's
no,
a statement.
okay,
There's
but it's just like
nothing
you're
worse.
trying to. You need all that shit to do your fucking work, and it's just
Yeah, it's
fucking
your livelihood.
it's livelihood. It fucking fucks your work for like a week.
Well-
They're so fucking expensive. It's like a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, you remember ages ago that builder fucking liquidated and locked up the site with all those blokes' tools in it. And then the news was trying to be like, oh, look at these scummy tradesmen, you know, jumping the fence, getting their tools back. I was like, man,
It's their tools.
if this was 1980s, they would have burnt the thing to the fucking ground.
Be grateful.
You know, you are so lucky that we haven't Molotoved you to the fucking earth. Like, you know what I mean? And there's not enough of that anymore. You know what I mean?
I couldn't agree more, Jack. Let's start a fucking riot right now.
feel like-
Anyway,
yeah.
if you enjoy riots, I've got my new
Holy
show, Little
shit.
Turd, coming up. Now, Jack, where can people find you on the social media? Have you got a new show coming up? What's
yes,
the go?
Yes and yes. So you can find me on Instagram under the tag OL90, OL_90. If you turn your radio to the police
Frequency.
radar, you'll get some news.
Yeah. If you're ever lost in the bush, you'll bump into Jack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm between jobs right now. I've been loitering in a lot of car parks.
This is good. Good for you, by the way.
Thank you. I've been writing haikus.
Very important
With a
stuff.
knife on a bit of wood. He's not a fucking pussy, dude. He ain't doing it on paper. And if you're doing a new show, where are you touring?
Yeah, so I'll be doing Sydney Comedy Festival and Brisbane Comedy Festival this year with my new show called Grim.
Yep.
Perfect.
I'll be doing a 4-week run at Brisbane Comedy Festival and did I say 4 weeks?
4
days.
weeks.
4-day run.
Okay, yeah.
4-day run and then a 2-day run at Sydney Comedy and More Theatre. So
great.
That should be a fun show. Still sort of working it all out. And
It's going to be good.
Man, if you get a chance to, please, I beg you to go see Jack Knight. It's one of the most solid hours of comedy you ever see. It's fucking fun, unique, different, and it's just stellar. I'm a big fan, you know that.
Huge.
Yeah, depending on finances, I think you get a free packet of soup with every ticket. So
Ooh.
I understand the economy's real bad right now, so
Very kind.
I'm trying to give back, you know what I mean?
Canned goods. It's a canned drive on the way out.
And
Ladies
if you just want to fight someone, also go to the show. There are so many options. He's a guy that just keeps on giving.
I give. I'm a giver.
And he knows where the emergency exit is, so don't fucking heckle
And
him.
you don't.
Legends, if you're not already on the Patreon, make sure you do like, subscribe, and all the social media and all that boring bullshit. I'm currently touring at the moment. I've got my new show, Little Turd, in every capital city. Bron, you're currently touring at the moment with your new show.
Well, Who's Talking's already started. I've already kicked it off in Brunswick Heads.
Lord.
Cairns soon. It's going to be great.
And then we got live shows coming up in Adelaide and Melbourne will be announced soon. But thank you very much, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks, Jack.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
I've been fired from a lot of places. I've been fired from so many places.
I went into the class one day, real bullets. Kill me.